welcome to the brag. It's so good to have you back again. So I think it's just been just 1 year since you were here last. So Hannah Joyce is the founder of Flexera, the at-home reformer Pilates brand, bringing the studio experience into your home, while making it more accessible through a rental option. When Hannah was last on the brag, she had hit 100 customers in 7 months. Now she's back with investment secured, a team, a rebrand, and global expansion underway. Hannah, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Yay! We cannot wait to hear about everything that's happened in the last year, because I've been obviously watching things on Instagram and LinkedIn, and it's just been a crazy year, right? So
It has
much.
been pretty mad. Yeah.
So, yeah, all right. So, you've had an incredible year, investment secured, major media coverage, big influencer collabs, a rebrand. You've taken Flexera global. You've got a whole team in place. When you look back at the last 12 months, what's the achievement you're most proud of that you want to shout from the rooftops?
I mean, there is so much that I'm very proud of, but I think without being super cheesy, the thing that I'm most proud of is the team because we are such a small team. We're a team of 3 full-time and 1 part-time, and they just work so hard. It's, yeah, we all get along so well as well, which is really great. I suppose it's probably a HR nightmare because we're kind of friends as well. Um, but they just work so hard. There's no ask too big. The group chat, and again, another HR nightmare, but the group chat was, popping off last night at 11 p.m. with ideas on WhatsApp. So it's not something that it's like this culture of high performance, blah, blah,
Mm,
blah, that you see in some organizations. It's just naturally happened in a way that feels organic because of the excitement and the opportunities that are coming our way. So it makes us want to work more, which we do have to be, is like on the flip side, we do have to be careful about too, because it's so exciting and it's so fun that we kind of are perpetually in this burnout cycle where things are so fun until they're not. And then we have to start again.
then you just have to go and have a Pilates session, just try and bring yourself back to
Exactly.
normality.
We have to regulate our nervous system on the reformer then.
Oh, but that's great. I mean, that's clearly, that's your vision, Hannah, and then you've got a whole group of people around you that are obviously so passionate about what they do, and
Yes.
that just rubs off, doesn't it?
Yeah. It has been, yeah. And because of that, then all of the things we've achieved in the last year, everything just gets done no matter what. Even if,
Yeah.
even if it's like, let's turn around a pop-up in Waterloo Station in 2 weeks' time, and we're going to be there for a month, and we need to get 8 reformers in, staff it,
Yeah.
design it, everything. That team of 3 will just whip it into place. I say team of 3, mostly team of 2, and then I'm off trying to, fundraise and do
Yeah.
strategy bits. But so it's just incredible. Anything that we need to do, they can just turn their hand to it and it just gets done.
Amazing. I love it. Action, bias towards action.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about investment. You've secured angel investment as a female founder. Huge congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
Where female entrepreneurs are not always necessarily taken serious. What was the experience actually like? And what do you want other women watching this to know about when going after investment?
Yeah. To caveat, the angel investment I have taken on is a 100K angel investor check, and the investor who invested was an investor in the last startup that I worked in.
Okay.
So I got to know him through that, and he got to know me through that too. So when I was leaving that startup to join or to start Flexera, he had already known me, and I was very lucky. The
Yeah.
incredible female CEO and founder of that startup kind of bigged it up and was like, Hannah's leaving to start her own thing. You should you should have a chat with her because it's going to be
Yeah.
big. So hats off to that founder and CEO who kind of propped me up. And I think that's so important for women in this space to help one another, because he was not in my network. You know, she met him when she was working in New York years ago. So it's her network that then she opened up to me, which was
Yes.
unbelievably kind and gracious, and I love her forever. So she kind of opened that door for me, which was amazing. So I had a chat with him, but it honestly took a long time to even get that over the line, not because he wasn't keen, but because I wasn't happy with the, I guess, the valuation that was proposed in the early days, because it's so hard to put a valuation on any
Totally.
business, I know, but particularly for what we're doing is both hardware and software. You know, there's a subscription with the rental, there's an
Mm.
app. So there's so many moving parts. And I think sometimes if you give it, say, for example, I think at the time he had given it to like an accounting company and just said, here's, you know, here's this business, what valuation would you give on it? And they just did a multiple of, say, the profit or EBITDA or something like that, rather than taking in the tech and all and the subscription and all of that into
Yeah.
account. So I was just not happy with the valuation. I was like, no, you're not seeing the vision. You know, we're going for a connected fitness play similarly to the likes that we've seen before with Peloton and others in that space. I was like, no, we're not doing that. So, you know, and he wasn't trying to be, he was just like, this, I gave it to this accounting company and this is what they've given me back. So
Yeah.
we first chatted in July of 2024. So literally just when I started. And the money was in the bank in April 2025. So,
Wow.
but
Yeah.
I was in a position fortunate enough where sales were keeping the
Yeah.
business going. So I didn't need the investment. So that gave me a really powerful position. And I would always suggest that's the place you want to be if possible. I know obviously there's a lot of tech businesses that require, or, you know, med tech and things like that that require investment before even getting off the ground. But if you can get any sort of revenue in the door before that, you just have a way better bargaining position. So I haven't taken on any investment since then, but in the process of kind of in the starting that journey again now. I say start, am I in the middle of it? I don't know. It's probably not being run structured enough to call it in the middle of. Which yeah, is an interesting place to be when you do have revenue. You're kind of like, oh, so it's a time waste doing this now, but it has to be done, I suppose.
That's it, right? I mean, depending how quickly you want to grow. But I love that. I love that it was through network and it was through someone else selling. And I know that like when we had our own startup, you were out there all the time selling us in rooms where we weren't. So it does mean so much. And especially when I think it was just last week or the week before, I spoke to a journalist who was writing a piece about why women get less investment. And interestingly enough, VC investment has gone down in the US in the last year for women, which is crazy, right? Because it's already such a small amount. But
Yeah.
they were saying that one of the blockers is network, that's the issue, that a lot of female entrepreneurs don't have the same access to network that their male counterparts have. So, what happened in your particular situation, and what I know what you do, is just so important. We need that more than ever because there are VCs out there that want to invest in women, but they just they can't find them. They can't get them.
Yeah.
So um, I think definitely strength in numbers. So yeah, yeah, big hats off to that founder that you're mentioning, and big hats off to you as well because I know from personal experience that that's your value and that's what you do. So yeah, it's
Thank you.
exciting.
Yeah. Big hats off to anyone who does intros for other founders. I think it's
Right?
incredible. If you already have investment from a founder or from an investor and you're not in the same vertical, but you know that founder and trust them,
Yes.
absolutely make intros, because like the VCs and the angels, like they need pipeline too. So it's actually just such a win-win when you intro other founders to the investors who have invested in you. So yeah, it's incredible, and it does just come down to network, which, you know, I guess I just don't know that many people, that many women who have received large amounts of investment, but those that have are incredible, and all of them have made intros to me or have texted me and said, I just bumped into so and so, I told him to invest in you, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's such a nice feeling.
Amazing. And that's just going to have a knock-on effect, right? And hopefully it will just keep going in the right direction.
Yeah.
um, so the Flexera brand has just gone from strength to strength on Instagram. I just absolutely love it. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
So influencer collabs, startup partnerships, stunning content. What has been the secret sauce? And what's been your biggest brand win this year?
It's a good question. I guess the secret sauce is probably a strange one, but I guess it's always just evolving, in that the brand that we started in terms of logo and colors and everything is absolutely not where we're at now. Obviously, we did a big rebrand in October time, but that had been in the works for many months. And I think when I got started, I had an idea that the brand was going to be, I guess, similar to yoga. I guess I just looked at yoga and thought, okay, so similar to that, like earthy tones and super accessible, because I want Reformer Pilates to be accessible. But actually, what happened then is we created a brand that wasn't like yoga and Reformer Pilates are so different, really. And actually, the customer is so different and the individual is so different. We needed something that was a lot more premium looking too, because of the price point, obviously, that we're selling the reformers at, or that we have to sell the reformers for, and the quality of them. So I guess we really knew we needed to work the brand or rework the brand when we would get reviews or comments from people saying, I'm so surprised at how good the quality was. We were like, what? What are we doing wrong? So then at that point we were like, oh, we're not giving premium. We're not telling people this is premium
Yeah.
before they order. So that was like, okay, something's got to give here. So, but it
Yeah.
was a long process. I spoke to and received proposals from many branding designers, and with that, it's an expensive process because you have to pay to get the proposal. And then you're just like,
Oh,
well, actually, you know what? That's not the direction we want to go in. And you can have so many meetings and think you're being so clear about what you want to come out of. It just took so long. And actually, I even hired like a brand consultant to help us find other
yeah.
brand designers. So I've probably received like 4 different full proposals. And they're priced at like, some of them priced at like €3,000. And you're like, and you just don't use it then. And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh. So it just was such a journey, but I guess they all stacked up to help push in the right direction. It was like, no, I don't like that, but I kind of like this part of it and I like this part. So you're just slowly, but it was such a journey, but you have to start somewhere. And then, because I think a lot of people get caught up on the absolute perfect brand before you start, and invest in loads of money in the brand before you get going. But if you don't know who the customer is and know what your brand needs to convey, you can just end up going down the wrong track. So I didn't pay anything for our first, because it was a friend. Thank you, Leo. It was like a friend. So we needed to start there and then change over time. But where we actually, I am a huge fan of Adenola and their imagery, and sporty and rich, and a lot of these kind of athleisure brands. I love their style of photography. It's kind of like this film grainy, moody, kind of sexy vibe. So that was honestly one of the cornerstones of what I wanted for the brand, was that it would sit alongside those kind of brands. I thought that it was so premium. So basically hunted down a photographer that had worked for those kind of
Nice.
brands, and I basically messaged her on Instagram and we set up a meeting, and I was like, I don't know what this is going to cost, but I will sell an organ to work with you. And she was just incredible, like nothing like what you would imagine. She was like super free spirited, like lives in a van in Europe over during the summer, was really kind and, you know, worked with us on pricing and stuff to make sure that we could afford it, while still being super premium, obviously. But that nearly happened first. And then it
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is the vibe, this is the imagery that we want. We need to now match a brand to that. So it was a journey, actually. And it was her call out on Instagram because so many amazing brand designers follow her. She did a call out on Instagram for us after we had been through, because the whole shoot was getting delayed because we didn't have a logo to rebrand the reformers with and to rebrand everything or whatever. So the whole shoot was being delayed. And then I was like, I just need your help. Can you just put out on Instagram? Is there any brand designers out there? So she put it out on her Instagram, and then a few came through, and then someone messaged her and was like, I recommend this one in Australia. So we went with them and got them to do a
Amazing.
proposal. And then that was end up, she gave me two different directions. One of which I had really pushed for, which was like a cat blocks, um, more chunky font. And I was nearly driving her in that direction based on looking at the other, like Rode and Adanola. I was being influenced by all of those incredible brands that are doing that at the minute. And then I actually was like, "Do you know what? Give me two directions. Give me the one that I know I'm very biased and leading you towards, and then just give me something completely different." And then it was the one that was completely different that
Love
actually
that.
me and all the team preferred.
Love that. That's why it's her job, right?
That's why it's her job. And I knew I was being biased. I knew I was leading her down this garden path of exactly, I had mocked it up and said, give me something like this. I was like,
But that's such an important trait as a founder, to be able to have enough self-awareness that you're like, okay,
yeah,
um, you know, I want to be in control of everything and I want to do everything, but I realize I don't have the best ideas always, or I
yeah,
might not necessarily, have the best idea on this and go with the expert. But it's so
yeah.
getting a brand right is just so hard because it's
It's
so
really difficult.
subjective and it's all
Yeah,
about how does it make people feel, right? And it can make everybody feel completely different. So I think it's what you said there was key about having to know who your customers are and what they're feeling with the product.
yeah, exactly. And also, had I not involved my team in that decision, we would have
Mm.
gone with the one that I had been leading everyone down paying all of these brand designers to come back with proposals. And because it wasn't exactly what I had in my head, I was like, no. So
Not
yeah,
what I
it was exactly. So I sent it to the team. I go, I know which one I prefer, but which one do you all prefer? And then they all prefer the other one. I was like, well, I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. Although I sent it to some friends too, and they said neither. And I was like, well, the shoot's booked, so we gotta we gotta pick one.
Brilliant. Oh, but it makes sense with the team because they're in it, they're living it every day, they're doing it.
Yeah,
Of course, of course their input is gonna be so important. But when I saw the rebrand come up, I was just like, I love this. Just changes everything, right? Just
thank you.
the
Yeah,
whole.
yeah. I felt like it just elevated everything.
Hmm.
And we had a community event at the weekend. And even just the girls who came to that, who were sharing on Instagram that they were at the event, are using the writing in our brand color, in that like greeny kind of teal color, which is just amazing. And they mentioned, one of the ladies I was speaking to at the event said, "Oh yeah, I got this thing because it matches the Flexera rebrand green." And I was like, "You know of
Cool.
our work, you know of our rebrand." So it was just, it's a really nice feeling.
Love it. All right, so you went from a handful of random international orders to deliberate global expansion. What did that leap actually look like? And where in the world is Flexera landing?
The leap has also been more of a, I don't know if leap is definitely the right word. We've been crawling along. But no, it's been through the trenches really with that logistics. When I first had the idea for Flexera, the first the first founder I spoke to and told them about it, he was like, this is going to be logistics and marketing. That's all that this business will be. Well, they'll be the biggest challenges for you. And I was like, be fine. But yeah, logistics it is such a beast, particularly when you have a product of this weight. It's not every 3PL or you can't just DHL a 100 kg reformer. So unfortunately, if they did, it would be great. So that has been a journey, but we're in a way better place. And I think we had to start where we had to start to get to where we are now, because now we have, a 2-person delivery into the room of your choice, assembled and packaging taking away. We did not
Amazing.
start that way, but we now have the most premium delivery for a reformer, I would say, worldwide. And that's been an
Amazing.
active choice.
Yes.
So, yes, but it's again, we have that in Ireland and the UK. We're now launching properly in Germany this year. So, we have a big Berlin pop up coming up.
Cool.
And yes, super exciting. I actually will need your help.
No problem.
Translation. And then, yes, so that's going to be very exciting. So, as well, it's just like you kind of all of it has to come into place then, your PR, your marketing, your events, your logistics, your warehousing. So it's not just like a software you can just turn on in every country. It has to be fairly well planned out. But the team are just able to figure it out. They're like, we'll just do it.
Love
If we're launching on this date properly in Berlin, that's what we're doing.
that. Just figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Everything is figure outable is one of our mottos, and 80% is better than perfect is our other one.
Yes. Get it done. But it's really incredible just to go back to 1 year from now, just over 1 year last time we spoke, and you'd hit the 100 customer mark, and you were just a team of Hannah still, going through all of the growth pains, I guess. But isn't it so important to go through those things so that you really have a full understanding of the entire business?
Absolutely. 100%. All of those early experiences we have to go through them to make improvements. So everything, and we're just constantly improving. Every time we do another bulk order from our manufacturer, there's an improvement made. We're just constantly changing, constantly improving the app, constantly improving the reformers, the product, always making tweaks on based on people's feedback. As an example, even if it's just one customer, we had one customer who was hard of hearing and asked, would we add subtitles onto the app? And we did it. It took us maybe like 2 or 3 weeks, but we got it done, got the developers on that immediately. So we're trying to build the brand that is built with our customers in mind. And so these community events we run and everything is just incredible for feedback. And we're constantly having feedback conversations with the community as well to see what else they need, or how will they use the reformer more, because most people, for whatever reason, want a reformer at home for the simple fact of they want to use it more. And that could be or they want to do reformer more. So that could be for any number of reasons, as in they've just had a baby, or they are too busy with work, whatever personal reason. So our job is to ensure that they will use it and make the app sticky and make them motivated. I need to be bullied into working out sometimes, so trying to like hack everyone's motivation through some features on the app.
Oh, but it can be so hard sometimes. Like I realized, working with my psychiatrist at the moment, I had the realization that I literally have like, what's the word? Like self-care, like a kind of anti-self-care for myself, if that makes sense. So, and
Yeah.
especially when you become a parent, oh my God, it's even amplified even more. Um, and so like going to that kind of root cause of like, okay, where is this coming from? Okay, so no, it's just like, okay, I literally don't want to look after myself. So instead I'm distracting myself with a whole load of other different things. So once I had that realization, I was like, now I'm doing yoga every single day,
I love that.
from home, because traveling is too much of a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's just so
Yeah.
much easier to, take away that friction. So that's what I love about the Flexera brand. It's really going into something where I think a lot of people are having that realization, just to try and make it as easy as possible so that you
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not to say you won't still go to the studio. I went to the studio yesterday, but
Yeah.
it's to complement the studio, supplement the studio, and be able to ensure that you're reaching the goals that you want to reach. For me, doing reformer twice a week wasn't enough because it was my favorite form of exercise. So I needed to supplement that. I needed a brand like Flexera to exist so that I could do
Yes.
it more. But it is just about making it frictionless, because any obstacle I have tried in the past, even in the last month, I've missed classes, in-person classes,
Yeah.
because the bus didn't exist that said was coming. So I stood there waiting for the bus and then it never came. And I was like, well, that's €25 down the drain. And I was like, I have a reformer at home. What am I doing? Why am I putting myself through this? So yeah, there's
Oh,
just, I think to get to the studio, there's so many things that have to fall into place perfectly. You have to have childcare potentially, or
yes.
the weather has to be okay. The buses have to go. So many
Yeah.
things have to line up. You have to not be sick,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's just sometimes can not work.
Exactly. Exactly. So just making it so much easier. And then when you
Yeah.
shift to that mindset, it's just it's such a good feeling. It's
Yeah.
great.
But on that note of the anti-self-care, I've definitely get that too. I've never heard it described like that, but it's so interesting. And I'm going to go and research, because there's times, and it's nearly like when things are going, when I'm too busy or things are going,
Yeah.
I don't know, you have to start off and be in a good place and then everything falls into place. Whereas if one negative thing happens, then it's just this like downward spiral of all the self-care going out the window. I think it can
Yeah.
stem from like a lack of sleep, and then lack of sleep will turn into like eating poorly, and then that will turn into not exercising, and it's just like it just continues on. So and I love that you've created like movement as the non-negotiable, because I think that's for me, January was so overwhelming with the
Yeah.
like new year, new me. And I was like, God, I have to do my ear seeding and meditate and get an LED mask and a vibration, all of these things. And it was just, I was like, I have to start journaling again. I haven't meditated in a month. So it was just like, you do all want it all. But I was like, I actually couldn't. So January was just a write off. But February, I was like, if I just make movement a non negotiable, once you have one of them done, all of the rest of them I feel like fall into place, but it's too hard to do all of them. But like a daily
Totally.
movement, a lot, and most of our customers as well, they are women who are like 45 to 65, and they're doing 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, 5 to 7 times a week,
Amazing.
non-negotiable. And it's incredible. So that's the data we've seen now, is the average Flexera user will do 5 classes a week.
Yeah. That's great. But like the
Yeah.
difference that it makes is just insane. I've only just been doing 10 minutes of yoga a day so far because I was like, I'm going to put the bar really low.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that it's happening easier. And yeah, so that it happens. But already I've noticed on my aura ring, my stress levels have just gone down so much, which is just insane. But I think a lot of founders have potentially that issue of anti self care without even realizing, because you just become so busy and so being pulled in so many different directions that it can be very, very difficult to remember. And like you said, it's a slippery slope once you start getting tired, eating poorly, missing that missing that particular class or that movement, and before you know it, you're just a slave to the computer.
Literally.
Okay, so Hannah, what is next for you and the Flexera team?
So I do some product placement. Can you even see the logo?
Of course. Show us again. Show us again. Love it.
So we'll hopefully have some new products very soon.
Nice.
Um, yes, we're expanding product range. We have been meaning to do, merch properly for a while, but we are so picky with this stuff, so it takes us so long. So we got socks, and then we were like, no, they're not good enough. We don't want I guess the quality of the reformer is so high. That's the bar, and nothing. We won't release anything that doesn't fall in line with that quality, which I guess can slow us down a little bit. But I'd rather that than, people say, oh, I love Flexera, but their socks, broke in the wash. So we're looking at all of that. So there's a lot of exciting things happening there. Are, like I mentioned, doing a Berlin pop-up for 2 weeks at the end of May, which is very exciting as well. So having our launch properly there, which will be
Yeah.
really fun. We are having a London press event next week, and we just did an
Incredible.
Irish press event this week.
Okay.
We're in talks of potentially taking on a more permanent location, which could be interesting. Now, it wouldn't be like a traditional studio, but more like a showroom / community space where we can film our app more regularly and also have community events. So watch the space. That's potentially in the works. And then, yeah, just growth across the UK, growth across Germany, the Netherlands, really, really honing in on the app as well. I think that's something that all of our team are super passionate about. We are not, we understand that you're not always going to be motivated to use your reformer. We want to do everything that we can to make sure that you do. So not only just relying on you having to just open the app and scroll through a load of classes, but how can we pull you in with challenges, with rewards? I need to be
That's
rewarded
cool.
sometimes. I need to be rewarded to do certain things. So I think, yeah, just trying to really leverage all of that psychology into making this the most used, which it already seems to be, but the most used app in the
I
world, and
love it.
continuing to just make improvements. So that's some of our key focuses. And then obviously the rental model. We're the only company doing this kind of reformer rental with the app in Ireland and the UK, and possibly parts of Europe. So very excited about that. It's growing super quickly, like 25% month on month, which has
Amazing.
been incredible. And it's been a very interesting journey with the rental as well, because we launched it at a certain price point, which we
Yeah.
thought was comparable to, it was less expensive than an unlimited membership in the studio, for example, in all studios. And we launched it at €200 per month. And it was a bit of a flop. We had maybe
Oh, wow.
3 signups. We were expecting a lot more. We were like, what's happening here? So we spoke to the customers and got a little bit more information. And then
Yeah.
we relaunched it in October or end of October for a 3 month or a 6 month minimum commitment,
Okay.
and with a starting price at €39 a week.
Oh, wow.
The weekly price has really helped people be able to put it in perspective. I think the 200 sounds scary, which is totally fair, but €39 a week, it's less than 2 classes a week that you
Yeah.
would pay in a studio. It seems to be more manageable for people. It helps us to try and keep true to that pillar of accessibility that we have. And it's also fun for people who might be moving, or, are just in a certain location for a few months. So for whatever reason, the rental seems to be resonating with a lot of people. And then many people convert into a purchase afterwards, but they want to see, will I use this? And it's so fair because it is a big investment. And I would be the same. I would love to see, I think I'll use it and I can rely on my positive prediction of myself and my future behavior, but will I actually use it? And we don't want people to buy a reformer that they're not going to use and
No,
regret their investment and stuff. So
no.
the rental is really working well. So we're the only ones doing it for now, but let's see. As with everything.
Amazing. Oh, just incredible. I know I always like to do this at the end is, shout out some of those brags. Will I be able to remember them all? No. There's just so much, Hannah. But that's just amazing. I think what you've done is just incredible. I know coming from the difficult journey of a startup failing and then straight away just picking yourself up and building this incredible brand that has just taken off so much, and how much you've achieved in the last 12 months is So, so cool. You've gone from a team of one to like a full team of what, like 4 or 5 of you now, you were saying? New rebrand, global expansion, events coming up, pop-up event coming up in Berlin, press coverage this week in Ireland, next week in London. I mean, that's so cool. That's so exciting. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for that and make sure to get some shares in. And then I just love as well that you're so diversified. Like, it's not just an at-home reformer. You've got all these different parts to the business, which is incredible. Your rental option, your app, just making everything really, really sticky. And I think that's so, like, we're so flooded with so many brands nowadays that oftentimes you see something and it looks amazing, and then when you experience it, it's completely different. So I love that, you know, what you're building with Flexera is matched between what you see and feel and then what you actually experience, which is, you know, which is just going to stand so strong to you guys. I think it's just going to have growth on growth from that. And you got investment. Huge, huge congrats. And more investment coming. No
Yep.
doubt.
Once I finally sit down and do it.
World
Once I find the
domination.
time.
I know. Insane, insane. But you will. World domination coming for Hannah, team, and Flexera. So just really excited for you guys because I've obviously watched this journey all along. And yeah, just want to say huge congratulations for everything.
Thank you. Thank you so much.